Okay, so when you subscribe, you'll have access to 3 charts, and this is one of the 3, and this talks about our gold trading plan. And what it will show, more specifically than what I'm showing here, but it's going to show what our open net positions are. It's going to show that we're long the puts. It's going to show that we're long the calls from here and here, that we're long the puts from here, that we rolled out here. And it will also contain our trading plan with the limits for the day. So these are the limits for Monday's trading day. And these represent areas that we're going to take an action. Namely, if we get up into this area, I'm going to take profits on these open calls and I'm going to roll them up. If we get up to this area, I'm going to take profits that I initiated here. If we break to the downside, if we get down to support, I'm going to take profits on these open puts that I have down here. So at every level and beyond these levels, it will have basically an answer for what we're going to do if the market reaches those levels. And again, we'll be more specific in terms of strike prices and such like that. To manage these positions, it doesn't require sitting lifeless in a trading room throughout the day, because what I'm going to present each morning is basically how I'm going to trade that day, and it's basically my trading card. I'm going to set alerts to my screen to alert me when the prices get up to these levels, and I'm really trading the options in this way for the longer swing moves does not demand that we process every tick like we do in the futures. So in that regard, it's easier that we have a plan in place and we just execute that plan once prices get up to those levels. And where the market sort of plays around and does short squeezes and all that kind of stuff, that's for the futures traders to process. But for the option moves, for the larger swing moves, we really just have to pay attention to these levels. So the value in the subscription is knowing where these levels are and what we're going to do at those levels. Now, if you see something in this presentation that you'd like to expand on, after the first month, and what I ask is for new subscribers that you watch it for a month and you harvest your questions after a month's time, because typically throughout the month we'll answer most of them as time goes on, and that's the value of being subscribed and watching each day and seeing how different circumstances require a different action, and that's really the learning process about what I do. You can't really, there's no real one static recipe to harness the risk of these markets and participate. It's over the long term, you see things that you see over and over again that you can act on, and that's basically what I'm going to be presenting. But after a month's time, if there are specific questions about strike prices and things such like that, you can send us an email, and I'll make that a part of the presentation as far as the learning process. And I still have the room, so if need be, we can have a little mini symposium where we can get in. I can open the room up and answer those kinds of questions, and that will be part of it. But for the first month, like I said, just getting started with options, regardless of whatever your education or experience level is, I like to have a month so that we all can sort of get on the same page, and you can acquire an understanding, and actually the questions generally get better during that time frame. But what I love about these options, especially for the accounts that they're starting out or restarting, it's a real conservative way to participate in a very risky and volatile environment, and this gold is. But if we make our marks and we take our action around these levels, I had these levels posted down here long before the market approached it, and the market bounced off of them. Does it happen every time? Of course not. It'll blow through these levels. But more so than not, I'll have a level underneath here that when this market regains its balance, it usually is at a level where I'm taking an action. So if it is truly in your heart to learn and understand without a bunch of course time and making a huge investment for learning and educational material, if you just want to jump in and be able to see over the course of a month or 2 or 3 months exactly how it's done. I think this, and that's the idea by which this is designed. Join us for a month. If after a month, if you can show me where this wasn't profitable, I'll give you your money back. No questions asked. But actually, there will be questions because you're going to have to show me where these levels failed us in our guide. I've been doing it for a long time, and what has driven me to the options is the risk that's very much a part of this gold and European markets with the futures contracts. At times, and especially at these levels, it can get fiercely volatile, and I've been able to harness much of that risk away with the options. And the one thing that I'll leave you with for your consideration is that it's interesting. You know, there's a number of different ways that you can approach this, and it will demand some study on your part about strike prices and about the Greek values. But just imagine for this purpose, getting long in here the futures, you're on a 1-for-1 proposition where if this thing will jolt down $5 or $10 ever so briefly, you're on the hook for all of that. Whereas you can pick an option at a 50 delta, and you're only going to participate in some of that downside risk, some of that drawdown. And then as the position starts to move in your favor near your strike, the delta becomes closer to 1, and you actually begin to benefit at a greater rate once it starts to move profitable in your direction. So one of the nice things about options is that if it does run against you, it runs against you less as it goes along. And as it runs in your favor, it actually gets better at a greater rate